Peace and love, everybody.
Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me. Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me. Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me. 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 You love me for me, I do.
This is some breaking news. Before I even get started teaching, this is important because they're talking about nukes that's going to happen. They're guaranteeing the nukes are going to happen. Nukes are going to hit the United States. That's the fire and brimstone that hits the United States is actually the nukes. So, which is why Raptor News is building bunkers. Thermal warfare is nuclear warfare. They're going to be shooting nukes at the United States, not just doing everything else that they are doing. Again, all I can seriously tell you is where you are is where you're supposed to be. Who you with is who you're supposed to be with. If you look to go or to be anybody else, you're only going to screw yourself. There's no coincidence that you're at and married who you married or with who you with, or happy or you have anybody. And now it's coming down to the fact that they are getting ready to nuke the United States. They're going to release terrorists. They're going to release the soldiers. That's not the American soldiers that they put here. They're also going to push the button, turn off the lights. They're going to shut off the water. They're going to go ahead and let the zombie attack happen. I told y'all, everything's going to happen all at the same time, including Civil War. It is going to be a total fuck show. Women are going to need men for protection. If you have a man, hold on to his ass for dear life. You're really going to need that dude. Just being honest. Now, I'm going to get my face off the screen. First thing in the morning. I know it's early, so forgive me, y'all, but I had to go ahead and bring this. This is important for y'all to see so y'all know what's going on. And you got the Venezuela people taking folks out their house and starting the purge. So the purge has started. It's in Georgia, it's in Denver, Colorado, and it's one other place that they at. And they're just moving across the globe, and they're just the front line. They're not even the important people, because important folks, as far as they're concerned, come with the tanks, and then they try to get a FEMA camps. They go door to door. They try to force you to take a shot and so forth, because this was getting ready to go down. Watch this. I'm going to face off the screen.
And because it is an amazing time to be alive. I was speaking with one of our beautiful members out of Texas, Annette, earlier today, and we were talking about that. Probably had the conversation for about 30, 40 minutes. And we were just talking about, with all this going on in the world, it really just brings you closer to God. And we all recognize that even though things are going the wrong direction, it's still his plan. And it's honestly amazing to live through it. At any moment, Jesus Christ, the King, is coming back at his imminent second return, and the rapture.
Now, listen, remember, they're Mr. J, because they made it to their Christ. They're Mr. J, if you didn't know, is a fallen Nephilim giant. Okay? Enki and all those guys. That's who's coming on a ship called Nibiru. It is a ship. It is not a planet, and your government knows this. They won't tell you that. So that's going to be an evil demon coming down, and they are close to getting the evil demon. They gave this demon so much power that it's going to get to enter this reality and cause havoc. That's the other thing I was telling you, and a number that nobody can even number will serve him. That's why you have all these camps and so forth doing the black and more religion, not realizing that the most high they praising is the devil himself.
Is right almost at our fingertips. So I just encourage you to spiritually get ready, get locked and loaded with Jesus Christ the King, grow those diamond nuts now, and like and
When you see this dude, tall as hell, big as hell, appear on the scene with two holes in his hand, head for the mountains. I'm just being honest with you. Head for the mountains, because he will pop on the scene. It's 200-something page law they putting into action that the president could not have done, like Ramesh said. Only his bosses could have done that, Congress. And it took forever if we can get that law in. All right, it's going to give him all the power that he ever wanted and never needs. So when you see him pop on the scene with two holes in his hand, head for the mountains, please. Or try to get across the border. I don't even know if you can actually do that, because they said there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So he's going to have worship all over the world. But wherever you are, you're definitely going to have to go to the mountains. You're going to have to learn how to survive, because there's bigger snakes in there. There's mountain lions. There's other things. There's things that want to eat you up there, you know.
Share this content because these warnings are not my warnings. In fact, the nuclear warning, which is the title of this video, is being warned by the Director of Central Intelligence. That's right, the Director of the CIA. And I'm going to get to that report here real quick. Absolutely mind-boggling to think that we are on the breach of nuclear war. Again, I've been warning of this for some time. I told you that God gave me this message. He gave me this vision that there will be a tactical nuclear weapon used, I believe, in Europe. This is where I've seen it. This is where I've had dreams of it. This is what God told me. I've been telling you this for several years now. And keep in mind, I'm the guy that told you not to comply in 2020. I'm the guy that told you lockdowns were coming. I predicted it. I'm the guy that told you that there would be toilet paper pandemonium, which there was. I'm the guy that told you that Ukraine would be the proxy war for World War III. I'm the guy that told you, biblically speaking, in Oahu and Honolulu, days in advance, I said, put all your eyes on Israel, and then boom, October 7th hits. And we have Hamas fly over in Kmart kites and take everybody hostage. Benjamin Netanyahu standing down intentionally, which is what many of us believe, because again, they have the biggest surveillance operational system in the world. I mean, it's unbelievable to fathom and not realistic to think that they didn't know that their security systems were being breached. And case in point, there's massive protests in Israel right now. Benjamin Netanyahu is about to be thrown out of office. And the only reason he's still in office is because, frankly, their system is being manipulated politically. I've said incessantly, and I've never changed my tune, we stand with the people of Israel, but the politicians, that's a whole nother story. Again, these politicians are criminal and they are absolutely corrupt at the highest level. And anyone that trusts their government, in my opinion, or the mainstream media is not very smart, because, well, our founding fathers never trusted the government, and nor should you. That's just being a smart individual, somebody that loves America and has a mind of discernment, which it tells us to have that in the Bible. So again, don't take my word for it. Even though I told you not to comply, I told you don't take the thing I'm not allowed to talk about. Now it's coming out publicly that, yes, we were right about that as well. In fact, there's a very well-known, notable figure. I can't say his name. You'll have to go to my Twitter at AMTV Media and subscribe. By the way, I'm going private on Twitter, which means you'll never be able to follow me on Twitter again on X at 77.7K. So we're almost there. So as soon as 77.7K, you know, I'm thinking biblically here, 777. The second that happens, we're going private. You'll never be able to follow me on Twitter at AMTV Media, the only official account. So make sure you do. But I can't show you this video again because it will be silenced. But it is on X, and I did retweet it. It's a very well-known, famous individual that was once pro this, who's now coming out against it and says he has peer-reviewed scientific evidence to prove that nanostructure, foreign alien objects, are forming in the bloodstream of those that took it. And this means turbo cancers, record strokes, heart attacks, other anomalies, all kinds of disease, and it's all coming out now. And of course, I believe that this will be the worst event we have seen in the coming years. And I'm praying for everybody out there. I'm praying that we all go to God for his discernment. I'm not the judge. I just told you not to take it. Okay. I told you it was a scam. And I've been right about that too. We've been right about everything. So when I bring you information that was once a prediction of the general, that now the CIA director is warning, look, you need to be prepared for nuclear blasts here in the United States of America, I'm thinking you should take it seriously. Because I know a lot of you think it's just the internet. You know, it's not like some guy on the internet would tell you the truth, even though I have no ulterior motives at all. I'm not bought and paid for. I've never accepted money. from any outside government like Tim Pool and others that were raking in hundreds of $1,000s a week from Russian shell corporations like Tenet. This includes David Rubin and others affiliated with Ben Shapiro. You know, Ben Shapiro is funded by AIPAC. You know, Ben Shapiro told you to take this, Ben. He's Ben Shapiro, guys. He's funded by the Republican Super Party, the Heritage Foundation and AIPAC. He told you to take this, and then later on he said with his really annoying, raspy, nasally voice, he said he apologized about that and he was wrong about it. Proving the point once again, the guy's a no talent. You can barely listen to his voice. It's terrible. And the only reason that guy is syndicated is because he's a puppet and tool of the deep state that, of course, wants him talking, which is the same reason they propped up these other characters that stand for nothing, are really just moderates, never told you to defend yourself, don't have any real solutions like the general here at islandproject.com, and are being propped up by deep state funding coming from Russia, whether or not they knew it or not. Now, God bless all these figures, but I'm just proving a point. Again, these other people are sellouts. We don't run any commercials either. So no AdSense, turned all that off years ago because I have a direct conflict of interest with too big to fail multinational corporations that are poisoning you. In addition to that, telling you to kneel to the American flag. And I'll just have no part of it. Even though we could rake in tens of thousands of dollars more each month, that would be easy. We did it in the past, actually, before we turned off AdSense years and years ago in the lead up to 2020 and that giant scam. But here we have the CIA director saying there is a genuine risk of Russia using tactical nuclear weapons, for crying out loud, early in Ukraine war. Here he is. This is the CIA director, guys, telling you to worry about nuke blasts here in the United States and Ukraine, telling you what the general had already warned about early on in the war, which has now gone on almost 2 years in Ukraine, which I predicted that there would be an invasion. And just like tanks moved into Ukraine, expect that in the United States. You don't think that a foreign nation state like China with 1 billion Chinese and army ranger equivalents couldn't come in and invade the United States? Of course they could. North Korea could drop out and storm our skies right now, bring down our electrical grid, stop everything in a moment's notice and invade the country, which is why you need your Second Amendment. And these dirty Democrats don't know what they're talking about when it comes to your self-defense. And you're going to need these things. But now we have CIA Director William Burns saying and proving that what I had said in 2022 was the truth, that Russia very closely used nuclear weapons in its early war against Ukraine. He says that he had directly communicated the consequences of using these nuclear weapons to Russia. He says the U.S.
For those who just got on, this is about nukes going to hit United States from Russia. They have nukes that United States has no answer for and cannot stop, cannot shoot down. They know that Russia ships, China ships, and Russia and China shares weapons and technology, if you didn't know now. And India, Russia has sold them some stuff too. And there's another country, the United States right now on their ships. Plus you have all these characters in the United States, stand in the United States Army bases, sleeping on their beds and eating their meals off your tax dollars. So this is what's happening now. Now there have been a underground warning that got leaked out, just like they warned the state police and to get ready that something's going to happen on the presidential race. That barely got leaked out, but now you're getting some things that are leaking out. So you need to take heed that, like I told you, we got two to almost 3 months if we're lucky, because actually, no, sorry, 2 months and 3 weeks is the time we have left before everything is defended at the same time. Everything I told y'all. Again, and I can't stress this enough, where you are is where you're supposed to be. Who you are with is who you're supposed to be with. We are down to the wire. We are at the door. The door is already opened. Now we are getting ready to walk through, and it's going to be crazy. Nobody's coming to your door to come get you or to save you, but fallen ones who is not looking to save you, looking to eat you and slave you. We want to have to dream about this plenty of times, okay? So do not get on nobody's shit. That's why the book says, "Sound like those who endure this get to inherit the earth." This is not going to be a fun ride. You are going to need. I'm telling you, get yourself a rough, rugged man. Leave them pretty boys alone. They won't get the job done. They ain't even gonna last to survive this. This is gonna be a fuck show for a long time. Plus, you got the 3 weeks of darkness, not 3 days. Sorry, it's 3 weeks. They finally let the cat out the bag. The 3 days was to get you comfortable so that you would come out in 3 days. So get back to this.
Needs to take precautions now, along with the American people, to prepare for these nuke blasts. And I encourage you to read this article. Again, this is CNBC News, and CIA Director Bill Burns testifying next to the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, during a House Select Intelligence Committee hearing on diversity in the intelligence community on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. There's a picture here, and then he just came out with this newfound release to the public knowledge that they want you to know about, because anything the mainstream media will tell you about is because they want you to know about it. Okay, if they're telling, let me just throw something out there. They lied to you about 2020. It's not like they would lie to you about, I don't know, World War II, would they? Or lie to you about the moon landing in 1969. They just lied to you in 2020. You really trust your history? You think they're not lying now? They're lying now. You lived through a lie, and you're telling me that you don't think they lied to you during World War I, World War II. There's a revisionist history that they change and alter Wikipedia, and they're altering the historical context of what really happened here worldwide. Of course. And those are just thinking, critical thoughts that any normal individual such as you or I tuning in would think about as we are, thinking about what are the motives of government and mainstream media. Again, control, surveillance, ownership, take control over all the real assets and everything that they've done for several years now, going on arguably several decades. Now, I need you to watch the video on my Twitter. Make sure you follow me at AMTV Media. I'll show you how to follow. It's right here. Again, I'm going private at 77.7K. It's the blue check mark. If it doesn't have a blue check mark, it's not me. If it doesn't have a blue check mark on Facebook, it's not me. If it doesn't have a blue check mark on Instagram at AMTV Media, it's not us. We'll never DM you. I'm not speaking to you over the internet. You can only contact my father, 808-442-2934 or islandproject.com. That's it. We used to have a check mark on YouTube, but they removed that right after Donald Trump was elected. That was part of their whole, ploy to only favor radical leftist cucks. So just so you guys know that. But we are the only official channel, of course, with, nearly 700,000 followers on YouTube. And so that's how you know it's official. And that is the official site. So extremely big warning coming from the CIA. I also wanted to mention that they are getting ready for Project Bluebeam. So police across the United States have now been given a UFO handbook for unidentified flying objects, warning that alien spacecraft, which I've also warned and told you that they were going to pull. It's going to be an illusion. It'll be a great deception. Even the elect will be deceived.
Sorry about that. They knocked me. They straight knocked me off. All right, I get it back up. All right, but I was gonna make a comment anyway. So they really thought they was doing something, but they wasn't really doing nothing. So let's get to the comment I was gonna make. I said that kind of threw me off. Huh? Hold on. Get back and see what he said again. Because it was something very important. So see,
warning that alien spacecraft.
There we go. Okay. So I told y'all about this a minute ago, and I proved this, gave y'all information, gave y'all evidence and stuff. They're going to use Project Bluebeam for an alien invasion. They're calling it a fake alien invasion, but the fact that it is not fake. Here's what's happening. There's going to be a real alien invasion, which already is here, at the same time as the Bluebeam alien invasion. It's going to be a mixture of government UFOs, because they have them triple back engineered government UFOs. And they have technology to make you see them as they want you to see them. Okay. And they're looking to get you on the ship, take you someplace, and enslave you, or to drop you off to the tall whites. Okay, they're not gonna do you any good. Then you have the aliens, really demons, followers, but these are gonna be only the bad guys. Remember, the good guys cannot intervene because of universal law that states you cannot enter anyone's atmosphere, anyone's planet, anyone's district, anyone's dimension, nor can you talk or deal with the people, nor can you help the people as far as in that sense of getting directly involved, nor can you fight their war, nor can you change history or influence them so that history will change. Again, God don't need help. We have to help ourselves. So therefore, only the bad guys will be entering because they don't care about universal law because they are the lawless ones. All right? And they will also be masquerading the fallen ones along with your government and their UFOs. And they will be going door to door asking you, are you ready? If you get on that ship, you are toast. You will soon find out, like other folks had the dream found out. At first, it seemed like the folks were coming to rescue, coming to help us. But then they found out not shortly after they was already on the ship, as people were getting sprayed with some type of chemical that were harmless to the people. Harmful to the people. She shortly realized, and her daughter realized, that these people meant her no good, and they should have never got on that ship. So get on that ship if you want to. You'll be wishing you never did. Now that's gonna be the alien invasion. So they gotta give you some fake and give you some proof. Well, so they give you the fake stuff because it looks and feels real the fake stuff. Then they gotta get it, just so you know. Then they gotta give you the real thing, and then they gotta imitate the real thing, the stuff that they do as well. All these guys are working together. You're not gonna see a galactic war over you in the sky unless you get on a ship of your own that's already there once you fully snap out and wake up out of this machine that you're laying down in, that you guys don't realize that you're laying down in right now, because again, we're not here.
Which I've also warned and told you that they were going to pull. It's going to be an illusion. It'll be a great deception. Even the elect will be deceived. But now the police departments here in the United States are getting ready for UFO sightings. So police across the U.S. have been given a new UFO handbook to get ready for alien UFO sightings and what I believe will be the government's Project Bluebeam invasion that they will be releasing very, very soon to control the minds, hearts of the American people, deceive them into false gods, false religions, muddy the water, break up people's faith in the one true King Jesus Christ, get them to follow a AI, artificial intelligence God, which people are basically almost worshiping now as we see the rollout with Neuralink and all of these other.
So people don't realize that, no, Christians, it's not so they can get folks to believe or get folks away from your precious Mr. C that you guys made up, which is Mr. Z, your pappy, one of your pappies, okay? It is actually get them to look towards someone like that now because they're going to panic. This is going to be a crazy show. It's going to, a lot of folks are going to panic, but 99% of you actually are going to panic. A lot of folks are going to lose their mind. And the tactic of doing this, switch up with the alien and all that stuff thing, is so that they will look for a savior, look for somebody who can help. And that's when they're going to pull. We need to have one man over the whole world. But this man is going to come with power, going to come with what you call magic, going to come with fake gifts. But this man is not going to be a man. This man is a fallen one. This man will be a deceiver. This man will introduce Mr. J, the devil himself. And many, unfortunately, many will serve that smooth demon-ass devil because they don't know any better. This is the big finale that everybody gets to see, because the one trick the devil pulled is to make everybody think that he doesn't exist.
Very dangerous, highly controlled, manipulated technologies funded by the deep state and the government. Again, it's very important to note that if you receive government subsidies, that you actually owe the government something. That means you're opening up your back door, so to speak, to the government. So if you're Elon Musk and you receive $40 billion a year in government backdoor subsidies from taxpayers, that means the government owns you. You're not independent, okay? You're not necessarily, you might have good intentions, but the government owns you. So just keep this in mind, that all of these figures ahead of the new government.
They help some folks out to the crest with things. So a lot of y'all are trying to get your immunity, and I think y'all should try it. Nothing wrong with you doing it. However, I must also tell you the truth about your immunity. Even if you get your immunity, like you see some of these princes or queens doing, and some of these guys doing, and some of the black and whites already have them. They go through the process of, they're under the people, go for the process of getting immunity. The only problem is that everyone that is a citizen in the United States is owned by the United States. So as far as they're concerned, which is a corporation. So even if you got rid of birth certificate and all that stuff and did your whole thing to have your own immunity or to have your how they say if you be totally free from the system, the fact is, as far as the government concerned, even if you have paperwork to say that you are free from the system, they don't consider you free from the system. So therefore, they try to put you in it, regardless. So you will still have to fight. So this is so how deep this really goes. And the reason I tell y'all not to start a business is only because there's not going to be any money. So the whole point of a business is to make money. So if you start a business, the only thing to really get any money that you would make, which would really suck, would be to go digital. But the problem is, you go digital, they're going to make you take that mark of the beast. And that's not what you want to do. Okay? So like I said, this is we're at the bitter end. I mean, this is done. This is totally finished. Period. This is totally finished.
Efficiency board, Trump's putting, Trump in charge, is the same guy receiving billions, tens of billions annually for all of his hosted companies that actually don't even make any money. In fact, Twitter's lost privately 80% of its value since Elon Musk's acquisition and before government officials approved it with a big stamp of approval on Wall Street, which they could have blocked if they really feared him, but they don't. They actually want him to own it. Again, think outside the box here, guys. Think critically. Don't take my word for it. But again, it's these people that promoted this, not me. Elon Musk told you to take it, said it was unequivocal. Donald Trump recommended it, took it, pushed it. He started Operation Warp Speed, the lockdowns. Whether or not he was deceived or tricked by the deep state, I'll leave that up to you to decide. Again, I have never changed my stance on any of this. I've only been proven correct, and now scientific evidence is coming out proving.
And he's right about that. I'm not against Trump, and I'm not against any. Well, I'm against the whole system. To me, it's not lie. I don't like none of them. Warp speed is actually an alien term, if you didn't know. So at that point, Donald Trump would let you know that he was not even what you would call a human. I know humans are not man. They're sub-man. They're based man. They're beast man. But Donald Trump is not even one of them. So that makes you something worse, okay? Because warp speed is an alien term. That was also a keyword, as they say, one of those words that they use to talk to the people over the airwaves.
That all of you were correct, and we all were correct, just like we always are. Because again, anyone peer pressuring you using fear or other tactics, especially coming from your government, you always know is a lie and is to be questioned. If they're telling you you can't travel, you can't go to church, you can't maintain a job, you immediately question that authoritarianism and you back off. I mean, that's just obvious thinking. If any of you have like young daughters, if a man ever approached your daughter and started forcefully intimidating them or arming them or coercing them to do something they didn't want to do, just like your government did in 2020, you'd come out with a you-know-what and you would get ready, right? So we all understand the truth. of what's really going on. I don't have to even explain this to you, beautiful people, you freedom fighters, you God-fearing individuals, you amazing Christians, you believers in Jesus Christ, those of you that fear God. I don't even have to explain this to you, but I'm just warning you that they're now rolling this out, and it's about to get very, very hairy. Now, the neocons,
you got to keep saying Mr. J stuff. He don't know any better. So, like I said, chew the meat, spit out the bones. It's just the news of what's actually happening going down. This is stuff that you do need to know. I'm all for teaching, but at the same time, you got to know what's really happening. Be a realist. Be part of. Know what's going on in reality. Learn is one thing, but until it comes fruition, your reality is what matters right now. All right. And reality is, we got 2 months and 3 weeks to get ready for shit hits the fan. Everything's happening at the same exact time. Nukes and everything. Money's gonna be gone. It's gonna be on and popping. It's gonna be totally messed up. We at the point where shit is getting ready to hit the fan. If you from the South, y'all say fun to hit the fan, but it's gonna hit the fan. Boston, it's about to go down. It's about to go down like Donkey Kong. It's a rap rizzle. Okay.
On the right have now endorsed Kamala Harris for president. It's crazy. Dick Cheney with a very angry message just came out. They made a movie on Cheney very recently. It's pretty good. You should actually probably watch that. It's with one of my favorite actors. Just made a recommendation for Kamala. So basically what we have is just kind of like a demolition here in the United States. And where I want to get to the main crux of the story, which is Russia is warning of an, quote, imminent civil war and collapse in the United States, much like they experienced with the collapse of the USSR. Newsweek comes out today warning, with a brash warning to the American.
Now, what is that? Law of attraction. What you put out is what you get back. If you don't know about the SSR, that was the war that the United States had used terrorists and trained them, such as Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah. And they used them against Russia and basically crashed their whole government. Literally, like, and they were a powerhouse at this time, and they used that and it crashed their whole government completely. United States is already on both knees. United States is at the point where both hands are going to slip underneath them, and they're about to fall flat on their face. Literally. And so what Russia is going to do to United States, what the United States did to Russia. And what's going to happen is that the United States is going to fall, literally, in a couple of hours, just like Russia did. What you put out is what you get back. If you do something to someone or to a whole group of peoples, you must get it back immediately. Of course, prophecy had to take this long because they all work together. Don't get it twisted. They're all orchestrating this shit together. Therefore, that's why it took so long, because when they did something to them, it was orchestrated by both sides. So it really wasn't done to them, but it was. You see what I'm saying? When the whole world is a stage. In real life, it happens to you immediately, which is sucky. But the thing is, the damage to the United States that gets done to the United States, the death, the craziness, the terrorists, the raping, the killing, the taking people's homes, the stealing of the food, the whole 9 yards, with everything happening at the same time, demons eating people, people morphing into things. Everything happened at the same time. Fire and brimstone, which is going to be a nuclear thermal warfare. Everything's going to happen at the same time. Money's crashed, money's gone. Everything happens at the same time. 2 months and 3 weeks. Everything hits the fan. Presidential race, something goes crazy now, all at the same time. Like I told y'all a good long time ago. Which means that the time is up. And this is why you hear some people say, where you at is where you're supposed to be, who you with, who you're supposed to be with. What's to be anywhere else, you're only going to mess yourself up. Because we are actually this damn close. We are here from total destruction on the whole earth. We are a hair away from total destruction on the whole entire earth. So it's important that you do understand where we at. That it's literally about to go down. I think if you have land, start digging your bunkers. I know some of y'all was digging septic tanks out there, but now maybe it's time for y'all to. You can keep digging your septic tank if you want, but you might want to dig a bunker down, because this nuke's gonna happen. Everything at the same time. Everything at the same time. But hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna jump back on that this time, because I want to let him repeat that.
Public saying news in the United States, Russia is warning of a quote imminent civil war and collapse in the United States, much like they experienced with the collapse of the USSR.
There's a video of this Russian lady talking about the collapse and how it happened in their country, and how in a country that the whole thing was so orchestrated that they couldn't figure out who an enemy was, and to them there was no real enemy. It just seemed like the whole world just went in total ridiculous chaos, and nobody really knew who the enemy was and who was the fight against. So because of that, everybody was afraid of each other. And that caused even more problems, because that's exactly what the government wanted. Because after they nuked their own citizens and allowed other countries to nuke their own citizens, they went to another country and just totally got rid of everything as far as money and the whole 9 yards, resources. And they said, was those folks thought, well, we can't fight them because we're not strong enough to fight them. So what that does to people's heads when you live in a country is when your country says we're not strong enough to fight people who destroyed this place, and the colony is done in the whole 9 yards, that puts the people in a state of depression, and they get really desperate. And then in 2 weeks to 3 days, they will try to invade your home to get your food. Couple of weeks, you start having people rape each other. 3 weeks, people start trying to eat each other. All right, now they're gonna have the lights out for at least 3 weeks, electricity and everything. Some folks will have already started that. And when the lights come on, you're still gonna have these zombies running around. The government's not coming to stop them. They're only gonna make sure they don't get out a certain borderline, which most likely is not gonna work, because the whole world is gonna be infested with this stuff, and already is. But it's gonna get worse. Because when that Mr. J hits the scene, he's going to be offering a cure, offering a protection from disease X. See, these people here is going to go ahead and give you, going to try to tell you about some disease X and try to get you to take a shot. All right, to try to consume you onto them. And the 144 obviously is not going to take it. The 144 is the only ones that awoke to the full extent. The rest of the people are still learning, and unfortunately, it's really too late at this stage for them to overstand a lot of things. They're just not going to. It's just pretty sad. They got to come back and do this all over again, y'all. All right, but just know that when this collapse happened, this will be the worst collapse in America from the history of America has ever seen. And this is also why in the book they have said it'll be like nothing the world has ever seen before. And they see, when you talking about the Anunnaki demons coming from the sky, off from the barrel, and the ones who come out of the ground and all those other things, that's not what they're talking about. The world have seen that before. It's just going to be really bad because there's more of them now. What they're talking about is the fact that the crash, the destruction, the terror, the horror is going to be worse than anything they've ever seen. They cooked up their best one this time. Remember, every time you come through this place or go through this stage, it gets harder every time. This is why none of you have achieved any of your Caucasus, well, I'm trying to say it right, atomic goals. But the atomic goals are never meant to be actually reached. That's the trick. The karma goes are actually a deal between you and the archons that you signed before you came here. Not realizing. I ain't talking about the first time. I'm talking about your second time, and therefore after that. Your first time was you making a choice. But your second time you came here was them tricking you not to have the thing that we call death. And a lot of us have not actually get to that point of having death. You know, when your body goes, it's one thing. The death is for the spirit, and you don't actually die. The death is when you move on to another stage. What's been happening, it was a higher stage. What's been happening here is that you've been being recycled. When recycled means you've been going through a soul trap. They make a deal with you every time at the light so that you come back and you think that that's something you have to do. Cards and people will tell you, cycle tell you that's what you have to do. But they only get information from the archons. It's a trick to get you to do or go through negative things so that they can suck energy off of you. Okay? So here we go, man. That's why I say you need to be able to leave, not right now, but I mean in that day when your body expires. If your body doesn't expire on that day, leave everything behind. And the spirit, once you get the spirit realm, you're able to let everything go and do not make a deal with any of those characters so that you can go on. Turn your back on the light and look out to the galaxy and go home. Okay? Go see your real family. Down here, your real family doesn't exist. None of this is real. And some of you are in spaceships, which they'll be called your home, temporary home, and you're laying down in this sleeping machine, waiting to wake up, all the way up again.
Newsweek comes out today with a brash warning to the American public saying Putin ally predicts U.S. will collapse in an imminent civil war. An imminent new civil war, according to Newsweek, just came out minutes ago. This is coming from Medvedev. He says the U.S. and their a-hole allies that are waging a war with Russia are soon to collapse. He says that there's an imminent, quote, new civil war amid this year's election over the Russian sanctions. And also there's a reason why Hollywood, Barack Obama, and the rest of the global Hollywood land elite are putting out movies titled Civil War, because they're predictably programming you for the actual Civil War. He also says that during the Civil War, which he says prepare for now, that the war in Ukraine will end abruptly because the USA will run out of money, its currency will collapse, there will be a fiat collapse, dollar collapse, more hyperinflation, and basically the spigots greasing the system of the endless wars that most Americans like myself do not support at all will come to a grinding halt. And then, of course, we will move through economic collapse and a restructuring into the new world system, which is by design, always is the plan, and is what these elites that have infested and infiltrated the United States.
So like I said, once they shut it down, give it a fiat money, the cash money, they're going to leave it that way for a while. Like they're not even going to introduce the digital right away. They're going to let it simmer for a while and have war all over the world, including the United States, for a long time until they exhaust all the money, you see, that they have to use for war. You're not going to have any money because they're already going to discontinue money. They're going to tell you that, oh, money's no good. It's already collapsed. But the war will continue for at least 4 or 5 more years. So how are you going to survive with no money? Not even a backup plan for money, because digital they're not even going to allow digital. They're just going to keep everything like, oh no, everything's done. How are you even going to have a business? You will not have a business because there'll be no money for your business, not even digital. Like that's so those who wants to bow down to keep what you have and take whatever they want you to take to keep your funds to get digital, it don't even matter because they ain't gonna run digital. They're gonna leave it messed up for 3 to 4 to 5 years on purpose. They want this thing to be total chaos to where there's almost hardly any survivors. You see? And then they want to turn around and then say, okay, wars are done. Yeah, y'all already know that this shit's collapsed because y'all ain't got no money and this place is a fucking mess. So I'll tell you what, we gonna go to digital. Y'all want digital, but hey, you gotta take this to get it. And then I guarantee you after 3, 4, 5 years, there's definitely a lot who will sit there and take that digital, especially if they want to keep what they have or business they have. They're gonna sell out. They're definitely gonna sell out. That's the sad part, man. That's why you can't be. You really shouldn't care about money at all. Yes, we need it, but you shouldn't care about it. It shouldn't make you happy or sad. Money shouldn't really do anything for you besides do what it needs to do for you until you just can't do what it can do for you anymore, which is going to be very soon because I guarantee you from just like some other folks have said in the past, in 2 months and 3 weeks, when they say, oh shit, money ain't worth nothing no more, y'all, we fucked up, you'll see money all over the streets. It ain't gonna be no point of y'all picking it up. It ain't gonna be worth nothing. Not a store will take it. What are you gonna do? Ain't gonna be no planes to jump on, no traveling, no nothing. You're not gonna get to go anywhere. It's gonna be fucked up. And then eventually they're gonna put in, because they are gonna have that zombie thing happen at the same time. That's right. So they are gonna put in these places where if you drive along, oh shit. Well, they can crash the dollar and still keep electricity going for a while. So yeah, you will have gas for a little while, not for too long. You better stock up, but they're gonna have places where you have to stop so they can check you out, make sure that you got all your shots and shit. And that's gonna be just for the COVID shot, just to make sure that you're not gonna turn into a zombie because these people are gonna be freaked out from the stuff that they caused. And then after that, disease X, that's supposed to come right around the corner during the election. And we all know who's disease X or Generation X. So now, because they didn't get you, they want to try to get you again, but they want to try to tell you that, oh yeah, certain things has happened, and there's this new disease X that they don't know where it's coming from. They don't know what it is. They don't even know what it's going to be. They don't know anything about how it's going to happen and what the effects are going to be. They can only tell you that it's going to be bad. That's right around the corner. So they want to try to make you take that. So now they're going to have these barricades where you got to stop to prove that you took the COVID and you took the new thing, which is going to be a mark of the beast. So besides the mark folks already took to morph and change the things. So they're right now, like I said, the devil's gonna rage, right? So they're raging because they know their time is up and their time is so near. It's not funny. So they're getting worse and worse, not trying to make things better, as you see.
United States have always intended. Demoralization, collapse of the system, destruction of the currency, turning right and left parties against each other, so they're infighting, leading to civil war, the dissolution of the United States, and then a new governmental body and system, Great Reset, introduction into CBDCs, massive.
Great Reset, introduction into CBDCs, digital currency with a card. And then what they're going to do is bring forth this man that's going to have great powers and wonders. And he's going to introduce Mr. J, who's going to be a follower. Civil war will happen right before he comes, as the whole craziness happens. Like he said, they're going to play both sides against each other, leading into civil war. Y'all going to have y'all civil war. It's not going to be a black against white civil war. It's going to be a government against the people civil war. They're going to turn their guns on the people. All right? They already did too many practices, and that happens literally, y'all, 2 months and 3 weeks. I should be saying less than that, because that would be, since today is the 8th, so you have really 2 months 3 weeks, no, 2 months, 2 weeks, and 6 days, if I'm going to be exact, or as I say, politically correct.
Of tyranny, and then the United States sinking into a low-level, under top 20 country that will just be in the annals of history, much like the UK before its British sterling pound collapse. And now, of course, we see with its open borders, it's become a very dangerous place, just like the United States. So this is a massive warning, ladies and gentlemen, to not only move your money out of the banks, but to share this video with everyone you know. Again, be very wary of the people that you're tuning into. People like Tim Pool and others have been receiving millions of dollars from outside foreign nation states like Russia that are bought and paid for by giant shell corporations and multinationals. Realize that the guy sitting here is actually the real deal. It's why I'm not promoted. It's why I'm not in the algorithms. Of course, we invented alternative media television. We've since grown to millions and millions of subscribers worldwide, but there's a reason why we're not being featured, because the people they want you tuning into are lifted up, and they are actually the deceivers and the deception. I do want to welcome our amazing members. We've had over a dozen of you on board islandproject.com just within the last 48 hours. I posted a...
Did I tell you that? I said people that have the most followers, I told you this way back, are not giving you the full truth. You can't get that many followers and give you the full truth, because if you do that, and just give you full truth only, your YouTube will shadow ban you. They shadow ban my channel because all I do is give you the full truth. So I can't get as many followers as others. Some others have a lot of followers because they're not giving you the full truth, or they're allowed to speak without showing any evidence. And they allow you to do that for a while until they get rid of your channel. They did that to a couple people. You don't see them anymore on YouTube. There's been way too many channels that has been, man, taken down. And that's crazy. And I see some channels taken down abruptly after giving truth. Peace and love, family. So it's a known fact that we're about to have a civil war. Things are gonna get real crazy. Really crazy. I already told my people, as long as you can take the, you know what, you can come here. If you took that, we don't want to take no chance of somebody turning into something, because that's going to be something that's going to happen.
Tweet pic on X and also Facebook and YouTube. Doug Triplett just came in, just got his merch from Pennsylvania. He's an amazing American, a part of our world-class investment here in our $33.5 million hard asset real estate portfolio, soon to be tokenized, cash flows, large capital gains. He's a part of our Christian network, and so much more. Also, spoke with Annette R. earlier today. Beautiful woman, amazing, God-fearing, great family out of Texas. I really enjoyed our call. Just on board at islandproject.com. She's been working with my team and my father for months now, and it's just a sign of massive confidence. And we love you, Annette. You're just an amazing woman. Love the call, and really look forward to meeting you soon as your whole family comes out. Please bring your daughter and her 5 kids and stay with us out at one of the beautiful condos or one of our mega mansion retreats here in Maui, Oahu, or Park City. We'd love to meet you in person. Frankly, Iglesias just added to his investment coming from New York. God bless you, sir. You are amazing. One of our long-term subscribers and long-term investors. This is our biggest state, the Patriot state. Those of you that don't comply, that believe in God, that are fighting back in this world-class opportunity. Darius Pratt out of Virginia just came in with 30 units as well. He's a brand new investor. I want to welcome you, Darius, to the project. You are all the way up to 1,000 units, $1 million. There is a nuke risk in Ukraine. You must get ready now. We are in an economic hyperinflationary collapse, and the best place for your money is outside of the banks and a no bank debt asset, something real that you can touch, generating cash flows. And then, of course, I mean, everyone understands real estate. That's pretty easy to understand. I mean, $33.5 million of the best homes in the world with no debt that's then going to be tokenized. In fact, there's been major announcements coming from Trump and others. They're also moving in.
So if you don't know what that means, email me, man. Email me over at this place here, bro. That's way. All right. What I was gonna say. I messed up what I was gonna say. Okay, hold on. Oh, yeah. So tokenize your home if it has no debt. So I explained the built in. Y'all know what a built out is. A built out is when that's my email. Email me. Yeah, the build out is when they build out a rich company. A built in, if I have it correct, a built in is when they take your money that's inside the bank and quote unquote build them own self out from the debt that they say you created, but it's actually their debt. All right. This is a way to make sure you don't get no money on a day when it happens. Tokenize your home. To tokenize your home means that if, say, if your home has no value, no, I didn't say that because that's wrong. All right. To say that your home is all paid off, your home's all paid off, you have the deed, right? What they're going to now do is say, oh no, your house is worth more than that. So you owe more, but you can't pay it now because there's no money. So we need your house. So since we need your house, because your house is now tokenized, because although you have the deed, but we see that your house is now worth more than what your deed said it was, this means you still owe more money. But you can't pay because we crashed the economy on purpose. Now we have to take your house. This is what they was talking about when you're going to see, like God was telling me, he said, you're going to see a lot of foreclosures. They're going to foreclose on houses that you already have the deed from. Never mind the houses that they don't have the deed on yet. If you have land, if you don't do a certain thing, I don't know what it was. I forgot what it was, but you got to do it. You got to put your land deed in a trust. You want it to be in a trust. This way they can't take your land, because if your land deed is not in a trust, then they can come take your land and say that your land was only worth $2,000 or $1,000 or $5,000. And yeah, you paid cash, you paid it off in full. But now we have figured out that your land is worth $30,000. So you still owe on that land, but you can't pay it because we have crashed the economy and you have no money that is worth anything. So we got to take your land. That's what that means to tokenize. It's something that it's a lot that they can. It's not really a lawful law, but you know how these people are. It's one of their laws that they can take your land and there's war going on.
And to the blockchain space. And so you can see how Island Project has been positioned long in advance of the tidal wave of Wall Street. We've already had offers for hundreds of millions of dollars to buy us out now that we have a provable concept, now that we've already successfully built the $33.5 million portfolio, but we're not selling, ladies and gentlemen, because we're taking this straight to billions and billions and billions of dollars once we tokenize, and our token will be trading all around the world, making our founders rich in the digital Noah's Ark. Again, use your discernment out there. Please leave a comment. Let me know that I'm coming in clearly, that you got a video on me, and also have some very exciting announcements for upcoming Bali investments and Thailand as we diversify internationally to seize all of those opportunities during this great shakeup in the United States. Again, we have 58 days, I believe, before the election. So things are going to be hot. I'm expecting shock events, just like many of these people have told us, like Klaus S., you know who his name is? He says there's going to be shocks. There's going to be cyber events. There could be, there's monkey pimples now spreading like wildfire all across the world. They're raising
more shots. I told y'all they're gonna shut it down. They're gonna shut it down and say more shots. That's coming real soon. The pimples, the monkey pimples. You know what he's talking about. People are getting that's because they got shot. You know what I'm talking about? All right, between the lines. They did what they was told to do. Oh, yeah, pretty much. They believe the hype, right? Of the 19. So they're gonna pull another stunt, and it's gonna happen real soon.
Raising more and more fear. So everything is on the table.
It's gonna happen.
And this is why you want peace of mind outside of the banks and a private asset you control that is your new bank that you own collectively along with us, that's not in a failed institution, that won't be a part of a bank run like Bank of America. Warren Buffett, I think, thinks there's going to be a bank run with Bank of America. That's why I just sold $1 billion worth of his stock. Same thing with Apple Computers.
The only problem is even your offering banks and your other banks, such as the bank he's promoting, are still owned by all those elites, and the elites are the ones going to crash everything, so it doesn't matter anyway. He'll find out when he can't get his money.
He's selling 55% of his position because he's expecting a crash. So you must understand, we play defense and offense. I mean, even if crypto went to zero, all my members still own $33.5 million of the best real estate in the world, and they're still rich, no matter what happens. But crypto is going to continue to soar. I believe it's a buying opportunity. Don't be shaken out. Don't have those weak hands. Grow the diamond nuts and 1,000 freaking X, baby. I'm General Green. It is an honor, and please be prepared. I want to hear your thoughts. When do you believe the United States will descend into civil war? Do you believe that there will be a nuclear event? Because I do, and I think it will happen very soon, and it will probably target Europe. I pray that's not the case, but again, it's what I predicted for some time.
So if you know their plan, it's going to target Europe and United States at the same time. Okay, so England and all them places, you will get hit at the same time United States get hit. And it's going to be total chaos. This is what they want. All right, so now we got time. How much battery I got? How much daylight is there? And I guess we do have time because I can plug in. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and now we're going to go ahead and put something else up on the screen. Something I said that we would teach, right? I said that I had to go back to the same exact spot. We might teach this too, but I gotta do a lot. All right, here we go. Let me get here. So we're gonna get back to the lesson. Now, like I said, I had to bring y'all what's really going on because you have to be aware of the facts. You gotta be a realist. It's okay to learn, but you must know where we are at all times. Some of you guys are learning stuff way too late, and there's no time for none of this stuff. The stuff that really matters, honestly. Is the stuff that's gonna help you get out of here, and of course, what's really going on, because you need to know what's going on. Okay, I'm trying to pull it. There we go. All right. Now I go. Pause. So I'm pulling it up. All right. Here we go. Let me go ahead and add. There we go. Back to where the lesson was supposed to be. Okay. I'm going to get my face off the screen. Remember, these are certain things about the Bible, and there's certain other Bibles that prove this 1775 Bible. Okay, it can prove all the stuff that's twisted, that they changed some things. Okay, what you are not going to find changed in here is any law such as die shall not kill, the basic stuff. You ain't going to see that change. Any marital law, they didn't change those. The only difference is that it would tell men to have their own wife as women to have their own husband. It wouldn't just poke at the woman, it would poke at the man at the same time too. When women taught all this stuff, they always poked at both sides so both sides knew how serious everything was. All right, I'll check it out. Let's hope they suit to the Mr. Ness one. That's the one I want you to send it to, the Mr. Ness one instead. Okay, now.
Did this fusion of religious practices contribute to the creation of a new social and religious order, where Sunday became a central day of worship and rest for both Christians and those who still practices? This change also had implications for how time was perceived and lived.
Okay, now if you didn't know, they're actually going right back to the law that says that you must go to church on Sundays. So they're pushing this stuff right back into play, which means that if you don't do this, besides not take the mark, this is going to become before the mark. If you don't go to church on Sundays, that they're going to they basically can come to your house, knock on your door, take you out of your house by force, using weapons on you if they have to basically take you to a FEMA camp for retraining, because I'm talking about like to relearn, because you didn't go to church on Sundays. So that's going to happen before the second mark. Okay, but that's going to be coming right behind that, and they are going to try to enforce eventually the first mark. As you see, they're really working on still the second mark. Okay, here we go.
Saturday.
And this is T, in case anybody's wondering, in case anybody's an asshole.
Governed by Saturn in astrology, was a day of introspection, discipline, and reflection, symbolizing the conclusion of a cycle. In contrast, Sunday, governed by the Sun, brought an energy of vitality, creation, and renewal. This alteration from Saturday to Sunday was not just a change in religious practice, but also a transformation in the energetic dynamic of the week, placing greater emphasis on the beginning of the cycle, on renewal and creation, rather than on conclusion and rest. Did this energetic shift alter the way Western societies organize their weeks and rituals, shaping a new relationship with time and spirituality? Interestingly, some Christian traditions, such as the Seventh Adventists, still observe Saturday as the sacred day of rest, arguing that this was the original and divine intention. This practice raises questions about the validity of the changes that were implemented over the centuries, and whether Sunday was adopted for more political than spiritual reason. By maintaining the observance of Saturday, are these groups trying to preserve a closer connection to the original practices and teachings of Christianity? The choice of Sunday as the first day of the week also had deep cultural implications, shaping everything from the structure of the work week to the organization of Western society's lives. By placing the day of spiritual renewal at the beginning of the week rather than at the end, Christian—
No offense, but if you still think calling attorneys or dealing with insurance companies is the best way to see if you're owed a huge
culture adopted a different approach to the cycle of work and rest, one that centers on spiritual renewal as the starting point rather than as the climax of a cycle. This reorganization of time reflects a worldview where the new beginning, symbolized by Christ's resurrection, is central, challenging the idea that time should culminate in rest.
So if y'all didn't know, on the day of the Anunnakis decided, besides getting the day of rest, it would be on a Sunday at first, and then it was switched to a Saturday by the Anunnaki, because they don't want to work for the gold anymore. Okay, 6 days a week. And the first it was 7 days a week. So they gave him the Sunday at first, which is the day they were supposed to praise and worship their daddy after they dig for some gold the day before. And so basically when they changed it, when they do change this and they already are going to do this, Trump is going to push this in. And if he don't, somebody else will. That Sunday law will be applied. They're going to try to force everybody to go to church on Sundays, the very thing you don't want to do. Why do they want to force you to go to church on Sundays? Because, let me explain something. It's one thing for somebody to enter church and sit back and observe and not listen to anything the pastors say because you know it's a lie, and to try to change people's minds and tell them that they shouldn't be serving Mr. J. That's one thing. But to go in there and to be forced to take part of a service is not good. Here's why. When you step into that church and if you take part of it, like you sing along to their songs, you actually listen to what the pastor has to say. Just things, you know what they do in churches. And then you have now made an oath again with the devil. You have forsaken that oath when you woke up and you got away from that oath, right? Or that agreement, however you want to call it. It was a deceitful agreement. You didn't even know you had the agreement with him because he gave you religion and you had to get out of religion. Some of you are still in religion because the Hebrew Israelites. It's still it's a black and white religion. Some of y'all haven't come to the realization of that yet, but eventually you will. So they changing it to get y'all to serve their original, not even original, because that'd be wrong. They want you to serve their daddies.
Temporal reorganization.
It is not as much as to Mr. J as it is their daddies. They want you to serve their multiple daddies.
Also influenced cultural and social practices, from how work weeks are structured to how Western societies organize their lives and celebrate their religious rituals. The decision to adopt Sunday as the main day of rest and worship was not just a liturgical change, but a fundamental reorganization of how time is experienced and understood. Does this represent a clear example of how religious practices can shape the cultural and temporal perception of an entire society?
And again, it was to get you away from the original vibration of the planet, get you away from the original vibration of the district, of the whole universe, so that you will be off of the vibration that you were on before, so that you would forget things. You would start to be able to be influenced a certain way, to act and do things a certain way that you should not have done them.
The reference to the 13-month calendar in the Bible from 1775 may seem like an arcane detail, but it actually offers a deep insight into how ancient cultures understood and related to time and the cosmos. This system, based on lunar cycles, reflects a more intimate connection with the natural forces that govern life on Earth. To understand the importance of this calendar, it is crucial to explore how it worked and why it was eventually abandoned. Lunar calendars, used by ancient civilizations such as the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Babylonians, were based on the
This game,
Of course, they're going to do that.
you're not ready.
phases of the moon.
So the Babylonians, who were evil, and a lot of these other groups who were evil,
Bluetooth ready for connection.
allowed, of course, did all these things by the moon. So a lot of these times that we were in, including slavery, because they were timed phase for the moon. I hear a lot of folks teach and say the moon does a lot of things, but it's not exactly good. You have to realize that first the moon wasn't even in the atmosphere. A lot of our ancestors said that somebody had moved this or driven this thing here. The moon is no doubt a spaceship, now used as a space station, but the moon soon This particular moon soon, you will see, will not be here because it is not the real moon. Our moons, multiple, are coming back. People are starting to see our moons again.
Each month began with the new moon and lasted approximately 29.5 days, totaling about 354 days in a lunar year. This cycle required the addition of an extra month every few years to align the lunar calendar with the solar cycle of 365.25 days. This extra month, which completed the calendar to 13 months, was not just a practical solution, but also carried deep spiritual significance. The 13 months in the lunar calendar represented a direct connection with the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The moon, with its phases of waxing, fullness, and waning.
So I told y'all before we had an extra month. I told y'all before how they changed the time and dates in detail. But I also told you not to try to figure it all out because it's impossible. But they got rid. See, all the 12 months of the stuff that they want you to do that goes by the moon, their spaceship, they want you to do it. It doesn't matter. What mattered was what happened in the 13th month. And the 13th month had nothing to do with them. They did take it and twist it to make it seem like it did, but it had nothing to do with them. So they got you doing the stuff you're not supposed to do, and they took away the stuff that you were supposed to do. It was about spiritual. You are a spiritual being. We're not talking about spiritualism because that's still a religion.
Was seen as a reflection of the cycles of life, death, and rebirth that permeate all existence. Each lunar month was associated with different qualities and energies that influenced not only nature, but also human beings. Did the cultures that followed these lunar calendars believe that aligning their lives with the moon's cycles allowed them to live in harmony with the universe? The importance of the number 13 also deserves attention. Although many modern cultures view 13.
So with one of our moons, a real moon, all right, not the moons in the sky now, and our moons are coming back. This was the reason. But when they put their moon in, it totally skirted everything. The whole reason for doing it was gone.
As an unlucky number, it was considered sacred in many ancient traditions. In numerology, the number 13 is associated with transformation, change, and rebirth. In Mayan culture, the Tzolk'in calendar, which was used for religious and ceremonial purposes,
So it was a unlucky number for them, not for us.
Consisted of 13 cycles of 20 days, totaling 260 days. This calendar was used to determine auspicious days for important events, such as religious rituals and the coronation of kings. The abandonment of...
No, we didn't do no rituals. That's what they wanted to try to push into us. So you got to excuse them for that. What's the little for here?
Do you like having a P.O. box but are tired of wasting time and money driving to the post office?
And astrological practices. This disconnect may have led to a loss of precision and effectiveness in spiritual and astrological practices, which depend on close synchronization with cosmic rhythms. The possibility of reintroducing a 13-month calendar is fascinating. Aligned with lunar cycles, it could restore a lost connection with natural rhythms, allowing people to live in greater harmony with the cosmos. This reintroduction could have profound implications for spirituality, agriculture, mental health, and the way societies organize their time and lives. It could represent a return to a more cyclical and holistic worldview, where time is seen not as a straight line, but as an infinite cycle of transformation and rebirth.
So now you see more why they changed the times and dates, why they put their fake moon and somehow got our fake moon. Somehow got our real moon out of there. You see how they put their fake moon in there and got our real moon out of there, and you see why. And it's not for spirituality. You are a spiritual being because you are a spirit. It's that simple. All right. So they had to get that out of you. Now we're going to move on.
Parable.
Hold on. Now these are parables. Now they're gonna say parables from Mr. J. This is what they do. You already know this. That's just how they word. But these are parables that many great teachers, man and female, have said. I say man and female, but I want you to know when the Bible talks about man, it's talking about man and female. Except for certain verses. Certain verses they will actually point out exactly who they talking to between a man or female collective. Okay? And so I know it says the hidden teachings of Mr. J as far as the perineal gland. All right, which Mr. J didn't talk about this stuff. There's other people that spoke about this stuff, female and man. Okay, female and male. I'll say that. Okay.
And sacred texts. These texts are still available today, but their wisdom is accessible only to those who can perceive it. Even within the Bible, there are intriguing clues for those willing to look beyond the literal. Among these, the phrase "Christ is in you" unveils a profound truth, showing that the temple of God is not an external location, but is actually within your own body. Today,
so many folks ask me before, where do you think you live? The spirit lives. They call it the soul, but you don't realize the soul is your body. Where does the spirit live? The spirit lives in the perineal gland. I said that many times. You live in the perineal gland. The perineal gland is the seat, the throne of what they call the Most High. It's the throne of where they say Christ sits. But you are the spirit. So you sit in that throne. You sit in that seat. Therefore, you are a portion of, and you are the Most High. You are the Christ. You only discover yourself, but you cannot see if you are blind. That's one thing for your eyes to see. That's not the same thing as you sitting down in that seat. But you get to see the field of view in that seat. You do not have a blind spot in that seat because you have your third eye open as you sit on your throne of the third eye. You get it? You live in and you sit in the throne of your perineal gland. This is why they want to keep you blind. This is why they want you to go to sleep. They don't want your third eye open so that you can see. They were not talking about seeing with the naked eye, although you will soon see who they are and what they are with the naked eye, really soon. But they were actually talking about the spiritual eye when they say we got one that can see in that movie. I played that clip, but then hit me with another.
Today, we will explore an ancestral secret found in many spiritual traditions worldwide. We will delve deeper into the technique of activating the pineal gland, or Christ consciousness, in a much deeper way than previously explored in our videos. Thank you for listening. This is the activation of the oil of Christ, or Christ consciousness. In the brain, within the skull, there is a place called the claustrum, located in the middle of the head.
Christ consciousness. That's you thinking the way you're supposed to think because you realize who you really are. All right. You realize that you're part of the ether, and this makes you who you are. I have to go into detail. I will. If anybody needs me to. Let me jump back just a little bit because I want you to hear that.
There's a place called the claustrum, located or Christ consciousness. In the brain, within the skull, there is a place called the claustrum, located in the middle of the head. From the claustrum, a secretion known as spinal brain fluid is released, which is
so the fluid, the oil, the Christ oil. That is oil that goes from your brain all the way down to your spinal cord, from your spinal cord all the way down to If you're a man, you're private. Okay, the private area. Just use imagination. Okay, and if it's not used or wasted, which you shouldn't waste anyways, then it goes back up to the pineal gland. It changes and it goes all the way up from your spinal to your pineal gland. And after it changes and goes back up to your pineal gland, giving you the daily bread, which is actually the Christ oil. Okay, so you actually eat. You, the spirit that sits on the throne, the food comes up to you in a different way as an oil, as a substance, to feed your spirit as an energy substance. Okay, so it feeds you.
Is essentially an oil.
If you want to know,
this fluid originates from the cerebrum.
Start going up in energy.
In ancient times, this liquid was known as Christos. This fluid travels from the brain down through the spinal cord. It gradually descends, eventually reaching the sacral plexus, connected to the sacrum, the second most inferior segment of the vertebral column. The way the secretion travels down the spinal cord to reach the sacral area highlights the intricate and wonderful design of the human body. The spinal cord is essentially an extension of the brain. It's a microcosm of how our consciousness descended from heaven into physical reality and matter. This is the origin of the Santa Claus legend. The fluid created in the brain travels down the spinal cord to the sacral bones. This journey mirrors Santa Claus traveling down the chimney to bring gifts, symbolizing the gifts of consciousness, or Christ consciousness, once activated. Every month, when the moon aligns with its position at your birth, a germ or seed is believed to be created and planted in the solar plexus, located just above the sacral plexus. It is considered a universal creative substance, the essence from which everything is born, and within which everything exists. The oil arrives at the sacral plexus and awaits the germination of the seed, which occurs once a month, 12 times a year. This happens over a period of 2.5 days each month, when the moon is in the zodiac sign where the sun was at your birth. This germ represents the Christ, born in Bethlehem, as the solar plexus is also known as Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christ. This seed, this oil, must return to its origin in the midbrain. As the oil ascends through the spinal cord, its vibration increases and amplifies. Initially, the oil is differentiated in the pineal and pituitary glands before being sent down the spinal cord. These glands, symbolizing the masculine and feminine energies, give rise to the spiritual progeny born within the solar plexus of every human being. The oil descends through the spinal cord via the nerves known as eye.
So what do they call the ether or call God in scientific terms? It's called Kundalini energy, and that's a balance of female and male energy, which you see displayed right here. So therefore you are
Ida and Pingala, in the energetic system of the Indian chakras. The Pingala represents the nerve of the pineal gland, associated with honey, and the positive electric charge. The pituitary gland is connected to the Ida nerve, which is associated with milk and the magnetic charge. The allegorical reference here is that the germ, the Christ, is born in Bethlehem, joining the two energies of Joseph and Mary, male and female. The oil that descends from the brain is also known as the manna from heaven.
So a lot of you actually thought Joseph and Mary was an actual person, but what they weren't actual person. It was talking about their energies. They renamed their energies instead of saying male and female. They gave it both names. Okay. And of course, Bethlehem is actually the perineal gland. And it's talking about the energy came from you because you sit on the throne of the perineal gland, and that's where they say God sits. You see? So you got to start really waking up and realizing why the war starts with your mind. These are things they don't want you to know. Because when you realize this, you realize that you are God, you realize that we are all God, that we are mirrors of each other, just of different forms and shapes, but we are same of bloodline. We are the same. We are the same. What's the word? Ether. We are the same carbon, and we just decide to come here and do versions of ourselves. And you start realizing that this is a collective mission, but really before it's actually a self mission. This means that your main goal to this mission is to escape this whole reality, because that's the only time you can really fully roll in and get rid of all of your enemies who terrorize and cause problems to make the school hard for others of us who decide to come here. And that's why as many of us as possible that know that this was a trick, because we have to fix this, we have to get rid of this whole thing, destroy this whole thing, and renew this whole thing by creating it all new all over again. They will get, whoever is in that reality will get stuck in that reality to relearn everything all over again, versus us getting out of this reality altogether, making a whole reality, and then going back into that new reality, which is going to be school. School was not meant to be hard. It was not meant to have all these problems. The school was meant to be nice and a comfort of ease, and to learn and to expand your energy very fast, at a very fast pace as possible. Not the slow, dragged out, depression, beat down, always working, suffering, pain, problems, disease, problematic, crazy world that are ran by suicidal gay maniacs.
In this context, heaven refers to the raised area, the head, the dome atop the torso, seen as the heavens. The area of the heart and the heart chakra had many names, such as Midgard or the Middle Garden. The generative area was known as Sodom and Gomorrah, representing the area of desire, animal desire. It was also referred to as hell, or the world of the flesh, while the Garden of Eden and the land flowing with milk and honey symbolized paradise, which is located above. In fact, the pineal gland produces a yellow or golden fluid akin to honey, which contains dimethyltryptamine, DMT, and the pituitary gland secretes something very similar to milk. This is why it is said that the land of paradise flows with milk and honey. This is how the fluid descends and reaches the sacral plexus, waiting for the seed to germinate once a month, 12 times a year. If we can transmute this seed and make it rise through the spinal cord, it will eventually reach the medulla oblongata, the pons, and the mesencephalon. It will cross the vagus nerve, also known as the pneumogastric nerve. The vagus nerve descends from the brainstem and extends to various organs, including the lungs and the stomach. This network of nerves is also known as the tree of life. As you can see, the ancients understood that the seed born in Bethlehem once a month symbolizes the Christ consciousness. By abstaining from practices that deplete or dry out this oil, such as ejaculation, poor eating habits, stress, negative emotions, and unhealthy habits, one can preserve this vital fluid. This preservation allows.
So you see, some people will sustain from sex, but you don't actually have to do that. All you got to do is don't play with yourself, okay? Don't touch yourself, all right? You can have sex with your partner. Nothing's wrong with that, because you're both going to give each other energy. That's going to replace that. But what you don't want to do is touch yourself, because then you defeat the whole purpose. But I advise not to do it a lot, to have sex too much, because then it can't have the same effect. You don't want to get rid of your energy. You need that energy. You don't want to overexhaust your energy. You need your energy to further go to a higher level as far as your energy being raised up, so that you can sustain that high level of energy, so that you can go to the new earth. Remember, this is going to be one of those shows, because we're not, you're in the movie, in the show, you're in the script, we wrote it, it's going down to bottom, and we had to get some things changed so that we can come on top, because don't forget, We did rig the game. We always come out on top. There's something these devils are realizing now, and they have a problem with it. That's why they're doing all this crazy stuff. We knew this was going to happen. Get ready.
Allows the oil to ascend through the heart chakra and the throat chakra. Through practices such as meditation, proper breathing, a balanced diet, and a peaceful mind, one can elevate this Christic oil.
This is why they don't want you to eat certain ways. That's why they don't want you to eat fruit. They want to try to shove meat down your throat every chance they get. And also, every chance they get. And they try to feed you on natural animals on top of that.
As it ascends, its vibrational frequency increases. Eventually, it crosses the vagus nerve near the upper spine, passing through the 33 vertebrae. This symbolic journey aligns with the crucifixion of Christ at the age of 33. When the oil reaches the upper part of the spine, it encounters the optic thalamus.
So when it gets to the optic spine, that's when the fluid actually changes. They see how they twisted everything. Keep on talking about their Christ instead of talking about the fluid that changes. That's going to go back up to you.
An egg-shaped organ located in the center of the head. When the oil crosses the vagus nerve, this is known as the crucifixion. It symbolizes the death of physical consciousness. Then, you become spirit. You embody God consciousness, activating the Kundalini and regenerating both the body and mind. The oil is not killed or destroyed. Rather, it undergoes a transformation. In reality, its power is increasing. It is magnified up to 1,000 times, and then touches the optic thalamus. For 2.5 days, which is equivalent to a lunar cycle, it remains inert, appearing as if it is dead. This phase is likened to the death of Christ. It remains in a latent state in the tomb, which in this case is the cerebellum. On the 3rd day, it ascends to the pineal gland, connecting the cerebellum with the optic thalamus. It illuminates both the optic thalamus and the pineal gland, the central eye, and what could be considered as the throne of God. It activates the crystals surrounding the pineal gland and awakens the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness, or divine consciousness. This area is located in the highest part of our body, the temple of the living God, the vital and living substance that is a manifestation of the breath of life infused in each human being. It is the Holy Spirit in its highest expression.
It's you sitting on the throne and the pineal gland in your highest expression. And the spirit, you control the whole thing. You see that? But when you leave this place, out there in the astrals, when you were just pure spirit without the body, you truly control the whole thing. You can, I'm pretty sure, control many versions of you by doing what your highest self, your highest estate self that lives in the astrals is doing right now, putting a portion of itself and different versions of you. You got you walking around, and it's controlling it because you are the spirit, but you don't realize that there's a higher spirit, which is you, controlling you, the spirit, as you live in this body. Except there's some things that people do that they don't condone, that we don't condone our higher selves, that people do anyways.
The pineal gland is the pinnacle of this temple. In ancient times, the optic thalamus was revered as the light of the world by Egyptians and Greeks due to their advanced knowledge of physiology and anatomy. They recognized that this precious oil, descending from the claustrum, the brain, differentiating in the pineal and pituitary glands, and descending through the spinal cord, would eventually ascend. They understood that over time, this oil of Christ would ascend, and that enlightened beings would facilitate its ascent to illuminate the optic thalamus. Christ, according to the ancients.
Now, if you eat right, don't eat meat, eat more fruits and a little bit of vegetables, but more fruits than anything. Start drinking water. If you stop using certain products, that's not good for your body. You stop being religious and you don't touch yourself, you will naturally, over time, your body will start to activate all of the so-called junk DNA, which is nothing more than God DNA. And then you will become physically what you are spiritually, a God. Okay? At that point, once you get all your abilities and you master them, then the next journey, the next goal is for you to seize or to fuse you, the spirit, with the body, so that the body becomes what they call immortal, can't die. Okay? Not the way that they're doing it with the zombie shop.
Symbolizes a resurrection and rebirth that occurs within each of us at the appropriate time. When this oil is refined and elevated, it transforms into a vital force so potent that it regenerates the body, triumphing over death. What happens internally is that millions of brain cells that were dormant suddenly awaken. There are practices and behaviors that can severely harm this oil, and consequently, one's life. For instance, excessive alcohol and food consumption and improper sexual practices at the wrong times can destroy this seed, which is metaphorically referred to as eating from the tree of life. The ancients understood that the tree of life symbolizes vitality. They knew that exhausting this oil due to a reckless lifestyle leads to the demise of the physical body, consuming all its vital essence. The sacred secret lies in understanding this oil and how to elevate it, so that one may attain enlightenment and open up to higher consciousness. As above, so below, and vice versa. Ancient wisdom held that by preserving and elevating this seed, one could potentially prolong life significantly. The ancients, who protected and safeguarded this secret, were said to live for hundreds or thousands of years. A thorough study of the Gospels reveals that all scriptures refer to this fundamental truth. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. The light of the world is the optic thalamus. If thine eye be single, the whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. Keep your eye simple, for if your eye is dark, your whole being will be in darkness. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light.
So a lot of times they taught you the correct verses, but they did not explain them correctly. That's what you do when you teach what you want people to know and turn it to a religion instead of giving them the facts. And that's what they did.
But if your eyes are bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. Matthew 6:22-23. This eye has always been known as the third eye, the spiritual eye. Regarding those who deny it, many who attend church do so because they view Jesus Christ as a historical figure who must physically return to save humanity. They simply do not believe they can save themselves. They seek a Messiah, a Savior, whereas the truth is the opposite. And this is what the Apostle Paul was referring to when he spoke of the sacred secret of Christ within, the Christ who lives within, because the kingdom of God is within and not without. Indeed, the words of Jesus are clear when he says, "Do not look outside, for the kingdom of God does not come in such a way as to be seen with your eyes." We could say that the kingdom of God is internal, not external.
Look from the inside because everything is in you. All the crystals, all the chakras, all the universe, everything is in you. All the commands, everything, all the weapons, everything is in you. Everything you ever created is in you. You is also inside your body. And you are inside your body, sitting on a throne. Everything is in you. Okay? So you have to start waking up to the facts and stop going for the lies. Yeah, going for the lies. I don't need the light, but I got it on me. I got women that need the light. But So you got to start fully waking up and understand that when they're giving you scriptures, they're just not explaining them right.
And cannot be perceived merely by sight. Men cannot say, "Look, here it is," or "There it is," for the kingdom of God is inside you. Everything is inside of you. You are the universe. The kingdom of God is within you. This process to find it is an inner journey. Unless one can raise that energy and elevate this oil through all the chakras, especially addressing the lower chakras, which deal with aspects like sexuality, envy, power, greed, and wealth, one cannot achieve true spiritual transformation. Remaining constantly attuned to the energy of the lower chakras signifies that one is continually consuming the fruit of the tree of life. This is why it is so important to raise the oil, allowing one to transcend the lower mind. Our task is to channel and elevate the oil, the Christ seed within, so that it is ultimately crucified at the center of the head. The Bible is rich with symbolism and allegory, and its true essence can be understood as a profound internal journey, rather than just a historical narrative. At its core, it illustrates the process of spiritual transformation, symbolized by the birth, death, resurrection, and rebirth of Christ. The story is not merely about a historical figure, but about an inner transformation. When a person awakens the Christ within themselves, they experience a profound change on both physiological and spiritual levels, leading to spiritual enlightenment and self-realization. When the oil reaches the optic thalamus, it stimulates the generation of new blood in the body. Until this process occurs, old toxic blood remains in our physical systems. For healing to occur, the oil must be elevated to the optic thalamus. This elevation reactivates millions of dormant brain cells, and the heavens, the cerebrum, await the return of the prodigal son. This process not only facilitates physical regeneration, but also brings about spiritual renewal. As a result, one can experience the higher mind and clairvoyance. This knowledge holds incredible power, but it needs to be applied in practice. Don't let it remain just a theory. Try it consistently for a full year. The process is straightforward. Observe the phase of the moon when it is in the same zodiac sign as the sun was at your exact time of birth. Each month, during this lunar phase, the remarkable oil is created and secreted by the brain and descends through the spinal cord to the base. To elevate it again, you must raise your frequency and retain your seed, your life force. This sacred fluid sustains every system in your body, supporting your vitality. Premature release of this fluid can diminish your energy and harm your well-being. Retaining your seed promotes longevity and preserves your essential energy. Starting from the exact moment of your birth, count 72 hours, which is 3 full days. During this time, avoid sexual relations and, most importantly, refrain from ejaculation. Focus on practicing meditation. Nourish yourself with living foods, fresh and healthy. Preferably avoid red meat and processed foods. Opt for vegetables and juices as your primary nourishment. Ensure that your diet is free from artificial additives and energy contaminants. During these 3 days, aim to engage in continuous meditation, regardless of whether you practice it regularly. If that's not possible, strive to maintain positive and calm thoughts throughout the period. It is also important to pay attention to your dreams. After completing the 72 hours, the brain's central region will illuminate, and the pineal gland will activate. Remember, the entire process spans a year, with each month allowing the seed to grow, recharge, and accumulate more energy. According to ancient texts, after a year, your consciousness will undergo a spiritual awakening, known as christening. Simply try this practice. Once experienced, it will become your personal truth.
So I hope y'all learned something. Peace and love to everybody. Until next time.